Hi everyone and welcome back to the Bodcast. This is episode 105 and we are here again.
Weird thing to say.
Well, people might have thought that after 2 years we'd give up.
Yeah, true.
So
We're still here.
we're still here, yeah. We are your reliable Lego-based podcast.
Yeah.
And this week we're going to talk about our trip to Legoland Windsor.
Are you going to introduce me first?
Oh, Ian's here, yeah.
Thanks.
Here's my lovely husband. He's here too.
Best introduction ever.
You're welcome. So we're going to talk about Legoland Windsor. We were going to record this podcast immediately after we got back, but we literally couldn't string a sentence together.
No.
I was struggling to stand up. It was a long day.
It was.
So we left the house, I think about 8, maybe a little bit after 8. And it wasn't too bad a journey. I think I was always a bit worried about going to Legoland Windsor because I thought it was so much further away than it is. So now we know we can go there every weekend.
Sure.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Who's we in that sentence?
You and I.
You don't want to take the girls each weekend.
Maybe the girls as well. We probably can't leave them behind.
Okay. Well, you could take them and I could stay.
How about no? So let's talk first about how we bought the tickets, because that was a fun thing, trying to work out the best deal. Why was it a fiasco?
Because it was.
So on the website it said prices from £34. And I thought, oh, that's not too bad. And also we knew we had buy one get one free tickets from all of the Lego sets we buy. Yeah. So I was like, £34, £68. Jobs are good and not too bad.
Yeah.
But then when I tried to use that voucher, it's only if you do a full paid adult ticket. Full price ticket. So that was £66, I think I said.
Yeah.
And so that was then a lot more. So it was £66 or £120. Oh no, it wasn't £120 because although it said £34, when you click through the day we wanted to go, it was £43, which was annoying. So book in advance, get a discount, but not quite the discount we had advertised. It's always annoying.
Yeah.
So then we were looking at Tesco Club Card vouchers because you can get 3 times the price, although that's only until June when they changed that. So that was still, we didn't have enough to buy all of the tickets with that.
No.
But that would have been a third off. And then eventually we settled on using our VIP points, and I think it was 4,000 VIP points, which works out as £25 a ticket.
Yeah.
So we did that. So all in £100.
Yeah.
Which I think was the cheapest we could get. Is that right? Yeah.
Plus parking.
Plus parking. So yeah, you have to pay for parking. I think we got that for £8 because we bought in advance, whereas on the day you would get it for £10. Depending on where you parked. If you parked somewhere closer, it was then £16. But we were there pretty much 9 something, 9:15 maybe a little later. So we were parked really quite close. It wasn't too much of a walk. And I'd read that they open the doors to the park at 9:30, and then the rides don't start till 10, even though it says 10 till 6. It's actually, you can get in early. So we did that. We managed to get in pretty much dead on 9:30, didn't we? Yeah. And that was fine.
I don't know how it quite worked. The people directly in front of us in the queue,
they'd already had their tickets scanned.
No, they seemed to be the first people who had to show their tickets to get in. Everyone in front of them just walked in. So I don't know how they kept track of it, but I
don't think they did. I think they just, people knew to show their tickets.
Maybe.
Because when you've paid for something, if you then don't need your ticket, you feel annoyed. So you're willing to show your ticket.
Yeah, but I didn't see them hold it up to the scanner.
The people in front of us.
Yeah.
Oh, they had it their phones out, so the people knew just to look. But yeah, we got in. We went and got some wristbands for the kids just in case they get long.
Too long.
Yeah, we'd sort of heard go to guest services, get a wristband. They should just have a pile of them.
They should.
I don't understand why you have to ask for those.
So there was
one person serving.
The person in front of us had some problem. There was, when we first got in, there was a group of people who were needing to get some refund for something, and so one person serving, and that was a complicated thing they were doing, it seemed, and it took quite a long time. Yeah,
and literally all we want was a bit of paper to put on their wrist. Yeah. There should have been a better way to do that. Maybe there was a better way to do that, but I don't know. Because there was a long time in that queue, I was thinking, is this the right place? But then the people in front of us asked for the same thing. I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. And we were in and out once we'd got to the front of the queue in 2 seconds. So, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Have the wristbands on. We didn't lose our children. All is fine. So I'd had the advice, head as far down as you can and come backwards through the park, because then the ones you get to first will have smaller queues, and then as you get back through the park, people have gone further, so they'll be the ones at the bottom, and you'll have less queues at the
I
top.
don't believe that.
Well, that's what I said to you.
People are constantly coming in. I think the ones far away will have short queues.
Yeah.
And the fact that you want to do the rides means you have to come back. But I don't think the coming back means you'll have shorter queues than if you'd gone to them straight away.
Yeah, okay. I think I also read advice is go to the one you want to go on most first.
Yeah.
And obviously this was our very first trip, so we didn't know what we wanted to go on most. So we were just trying to head as far in as we could.
Yeah.
And that didn't work.
Well, you just hit a massive queue.
Yeah, so...
with no clue what the queue is for.
So we assumed it was the queue for the ride that we were near.
Yeah.
Because obviously the ride didn't open at 10. So we tried to go past the queue and someone's like, there's a gate closed, you can't actually get any further. Yeah. So the fact that they let you in at 9:30, what's the point if they're not going to let you through?
People who are there early, they want to get through those tickets as quickly as they can so that they get rid of the massive kind of backlog.
They're trying to remove the bottleneck from one place, but then there was a bottleneck further.
But they don't need to care about that bottleneck.
Because
all they have to do is open a gate and it's done. It's, you know.
Yeah. So we didn't go the Miniland route because I thought we were trying to get as far as we could.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if we'd done that first...
You think you could have got to Miniland straight away?
I hope so, but I don't know for sure.
I don't think so.
You think that would have also been gated off? We'll never know because we can't do both. So once we got into the park, I don't know if we wanted to do the Skyline, but that was kind of the furthest down. So that's what we thought we were going to head for. And also Heart Lake City was that way. But Heart Lake City, disappointing.
Heart Lake City doesn't really have any rides.
No, exactly. It's just, it looks good.
Yeah.
There's the Mia's riding adventure, but that one I think we were trying to avoid because only one of the kids could go on. Yeah. And we didn't want one to be upset and the other to want to go on it, kind of thing. Yeah. So we just started going on rides as and when we saw them. And I think maybe we should have taken advantage of going on rides multiple times while the queues were slow instead of continuing to head. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think because then you'd have just queued more at the other ones. As we said at the start, the queues were quite short. We were doing rides. I think like some of the rides we did twice in a row and you didn't have to wait between because it's small enough. So we did like the spider teacup style ride. We did a little carousel, a swings thing, and a Ferris wheel and so those three were all in the Pharaoh bit. Yeah, those were good, and those, I said, the short queues. I think the girls did the swings. I went on the swings once, and that was not a comfortable thing to sit in. No, you're larger than the swing really wanted to be. They did. So the girls then went on for a second time. The carousel.
We did once. Then they did once.
Because they ended up on the horses that didn't go up and down, so they went on again on the ones that did. We did a couple of other rides, again, short queues.
Yeah.
I think
the thing, it seemed to be that if you're there really early, you can get quite a few rides in, and then the longer you stay, the fewer rides you're then getting in.
Yeah.
So I think all in all, we had 14 rides. Okay. So some of them were multiple on the same, but we did quite a few. I think there was a Spring Festival on at the same time, and I didn't really understand what Spring Fest was, but it turns out that was like a music stage. Yeah. And I think one of our kids would have really enjoyed being there a bit longer than we were.
Yes, we kind of got there at the end.
Yeah, just the last sort of bit, but she did enjoy that. I think we didn't do much of the parks as well. We definitely sat down for a bit at the parks and let them go. Yeah. But I think they could have easily done those a lot more as well. It's just trying to work out what you want to see, and I think the first time you can either sit and research and go crazy whilst at home to work it out, or you can just go and enjoy the day. And I would say we left happy.
No matter how much research you do, though, you've still got until you see a ride in action, you don't know if the kids.
Well, I think you can look up YouTube videos of the actual rides in action.
But it's still, from watching a video of it, it's not the same as being there.
Yeah. You can't feel what it's like either. Like the actual movement of it.
Yeah, but you get a much better feel in person for the actual speed. That's hard to judge from a video.
I would say it just seemed like such a big park. Yes. Having so much walking involved, that was the most tiring part, I think.
Yeah. We did rides. We left Miniland till the end. Yeah. And then kind of about halfway through Miniland, Leah was excited, ran from one side of the path to the other, tripped over a woman's feet halfway through, fell down, and at that point I was carrying her, basically.
We'd not walk anymore.
And so if anyone's been to Legoland Windsor, they know that it's
quite
a steep hill that you have to go back up to get out. So I had to carry her all the way up there, and it was not nice.
No. So I think that's the thing. While you're having fun, you're having fun. And then once you're not having fun, the amount of people and all the queues do really get to you. And it was quite a hot day. And that hill, why? I don't understand why they've always put things on hills.
Because the land is cheaper.
The land is cheaper, yeah. I'd say, like, Miniland in particular looks like it could do with a lot more newer bricks. It was a lot that was quite faded, but then it's still pretty grand to see the scale of things and the fact that it's all like actual landmarks and stuff, so it's recognisable. The kids did enjoy, like, oh, we've seen that, like, we know what that is, kind of thing. And I enjoyed the sort of the motorisation of some of the bits as well. It was frustrating when you were trying to film it though, when you just get there as it's finished going and you're like, oh, I'd quite like to film that, and then it's not the next thing that plays, so you have to wait. But I mean, not many people will be that's a specific you problem, isn't it? Well, I don't know. Some people might want to remember how it was and film it as well. And like, not just for content creation kind of thing. So we use the app. I found that quite useful, being able to see the queue times just on your phone and know whether it's worth walking to a ride. That was helpful. I'm not entirely
sure how accurate that is. So we decided, what was it? We got to Heart Lake City.
Yeah, there was a show imminent, wasn't there? And we thought, oh, that's a good time for lunch. But I was like, well, it's another 10-15 minutes to the show.
I think it was, 20 minutes to the show. And we're like, well, let's go do something, have lunch and watch the show after.
Yeah.
So we looked up the rides that we were interested in. So we did the underwater.
Yeah, the deep sea city adventure thing.
Yeah.
Where you go in a submarine and you get to see fish.
And so it said it was a 20-minute queue time. We went, right, we'll do that. I don't know how long the ride is. We'll be on that. Then we'll start thinking about food, do some other stuff, and it'll be fine. We got to the ride at 11:45.
Yeah.
We were off the ride at 11:55.
So that was definitely not a 20-minute queue.
And that is quite a long ride. It's quite a slow kind of thing through. You get to see lots of fish, some sharks. You know, the kids loved it.
Yeah, I really liked that one.
So I would say we were only in that queue for at most 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So just trying to judge it all is a bit tricky.
I guess they're trying to give you this is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, maybe.
So that you know. But then sometimes you'll look at it and say, if that's how long the queue is, I don't want to be in it.
Yeah.
And so you'll miss out. So I think Nia wanted to go on that really crazy drop ride, which I'm kind of glad she didn't go on, because I think my anxiety would have been through the roof watching that.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know when's a step too far for her. She thinks she can do it.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to suddenly not want to do other rides because she's been scared, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's got to test her limits herself. I've got to let her.
Yes.
I'll stop worrying. But yeah, she went 30 minutes. I'm not willing to wait for her. But then other things, we didn't really tell her what the wait time was. We just got in the queue anyway. I think they struggled a bit with like the Monster Party one, waiting for that. Although they had ice cream to start, so they were happily eating their ice creams. Yeah. And you can see that was quite a popular technique for grown-ups to use. Like, let's eat the ice cream in the queue. But it backfired, I saw twice, where people got to the front of the queue, still had their ice creams and weren't allowed on the ride.
Right.
It's like...
But then presumably you just stand at the front of the queue and let people pass you till you finish.
Well, the mums ended up holding ice creams and they're just like dripping all over their hands. I'm like, this didn't go well for you, did it? Which was quite funny for me to watch. So I didn't mind. And I found we went and did the Fairy Tale Brook. Like, that was like the last ride we did. And actually we thought it was one of the best.
Yes.
Because it was just so relaxing.
Yeah.
And you could tell, because it was in Duplo Valley, the queue had so much more to entertain the kids.
Yes.
And
although that meant that, so all the little bits where you get to find stuff, and the queue hadn't got long enough for you to be at that bit, so we were doing that and people were walking past us to join the queue kind of
but thing. The nature of the ride, because it's a continual motion one, there isn't really a queue for that one.
No.
So it was a really good one, and in fact I said to you, should we do it again? But you said no, and that was probably the right choice given the time of day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was really, really good, and I think they could benefit from some more of those kind of things in the queues for others. So there was one point where it said, there was a sign saying don't build your tower too tall, and there was like a big trough, but there was no Lego in it.
Yeah.
It's like, that would have been a good point to have a bit of fun. And then in the Monster Party one, there was clearly a bit where you were meant to like take photos, and I found it annoying that people then walked past whilst you were trying to take those photos, because clearly you were just trying to entertain your child whilst you're in the queue.
But again, the queue wasn't at that point.
Yeah.
So people are walking past you to get to the queue.
Yeah, so it's just a bit frustrating. Although we did nip out of that queue.
Did.
Ian jumped over a fence, and no one complained when you then jumped back over.
Yeah.
So I think that was fine. And I think that's the thing. You've got to notice the difference from people jumping the queue to people who generally have to take their child for a wee and need to get back in the queue.
Because the rides are designed for small kids in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and
small kids
don't predict
will need a wee if you queue them up for an hour. So it's a bit of a silly system.
So the Monster Party ride, I did not know what to expect.
No.
I thought it was like a walkthrough, and there was it was a little bit scary, but also quite fun. That was a very different experience to what I was expecting. Yes. So you go into a big room, and there's like two lots of rows of chairs or benches, I guess, and like a table in the middle. And then he says he's going to show you a party trick, and he essentially turns you upside down, but doesn't really.
So it's like, it's essentially a galleon ride, but at the same time
making it,
the room is rotating to make you feel like you're going upside down. It's a good ride. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the bit before the ride.
Where he just talks to you.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of theming, I guess.
Meh.
I would have enjoyed that more if it hadn't have been so uncomfortable. So like, obviously it's got to hold you in, and it just held me in far too much. So I would recommend, if you are of the larger size, to give that one a miss, or be prepared to be squished. Yeah, because I didn't think I could breathe. I was just like, this is
you
not
hadn't
good.
been on the swings, so...
Well, that was more like playing with your bits, whereas this was literally like crushing my entire stomach. So it wasn't... I don't know if it's because the kids were holding onto it and pulling it more. Yeah. But yeah, and also because I didn't know what to expect, I would never go on a galleon. So I was a little bit worried about that one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it going to turn us upside down? And you're like, calm down, you're going to be fine. And it wasn't too bad, but it was a bit unnerving. Some of the experiences, like the non-queuing experiences, I think could have done better. So specifically in Mythica Land, there was the build your own creature and add it to the thing. There was not enough supply of bricks there.
No.
That needed some extra. And then the meet and greet of the mythical creature was really cute to watch.
I thought that was really cute.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was worth queuing up for. I think as a parent, you're stood there listening to him say the same things over and over again, and that kind of feels a little annoying. But I think the kids did enjoy it, so it probably was worth it. I don't feel like Legoland is made for adults, and like we talked about going for an AVOL day, and I don't know how much fun that would be, other than it would be fun because like you're hanging out with your friends. But like I don't know what rides you want to go on, because I'm all for the Fairy Tale Brook. And in fact, the Fairy Tale Brook, if we went on that with 4 adults, we'd think.
I think it'd be fine with 4 adults. We had 2 small kids in the front and us 2 in the back. And
we tipped a lot.
We did.
To the point that Ian's like, I'm going to sit forward. I don't think this is worth it.
And I spent that ride leaning forward.
Yeah, whereas I leant back and enjoyed the ride because it was really relaxing.
But you could see, like, when we leant back, it was tipping enough that the bottom of the boat was scraping on the bottom, which meant that the boat in front of us was getting further ahead and the boat behind was catching us up.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
Oh, there was such a big gap between us and the one in front, and then very little.
Oh, I just thought that was...
If we'd have kept leaning back, then I think they would have crashed into the back of us at some point.
And you think they would mention, don't do this. But then the car... I think one of the boats behind us had done the same thing. So I don't know. Maybe they just weren't as heavy as us.
Maybe.
But yeah, I did really enjoy that one.
I found... Some of the rides don't seem in any way connected to Lego. It's particularly in the Faro area.
Right, which ones?
So the swings.
Yeah.
It was quite clearly they'd got a swing ride and then got some big stickers of like Johnny Thunder in a plane and stuck it on.
Yeah.
In some cases, not very well.
Yeah.
Because there's like massive creases in it.
Also, Johnny Thunder is a very dated thing.
Yes.
So kids nowadays wouldn't know.
But then the carousel...
That didn't have anything then.
It was called Desert Chase. It didn't have like any camels or anything on it. So the name didn't even make sense.
No. We didn't really do much we didn't go into Ninjago Land at all. No. I really wanted to do the Ninjago ride because I think that's the one where you shoot. And my competitive nature. And I really like shooting things. Yeah. I would have enjoyed that one. But the queue for that seemed a lot.
Yeah.
We're still not sure what the Skyline ride is, whether it's a thrill ride or it's an interactive ride. I don't know whether I would have wanted to go on that or not.
No, definitely not the queue times.
No, the queue times were ridiculous. So again, I think that would have been the one to go for first if we'd really wanted to do it. I guess the rides were good. We had a lot of fun. It would have been good to go on a few more rides, I think, maybe. Yeah. But tell me about food, Ian.
Oh, the food was extortionate, which you kind of expect from a theme park, but I think they were properly taking the piss.
£8 for a hot dog was crazy. You should have gone for the £8.75 with a drink deal.
None of the drinks were good.
Oh, you didn't like the drinks, okay.
So this thing, we packed like flasks for the girls, but I didn't have, and I had a small bottle of iced tea, and I was thinking, I'll just buy stuff there. It's going to be expensive, but I'll do it. There was so little choice.
Well, there was so little choice for if you just wanted to buy a bottle of drink, because they're really pushing that refillable, pay £16 and fill as many times as you like kind of thing. Yeah. And it's not £16 if you pre-order it kind of thing. But then you're wasting your time at the start trying to pick up all your cups. You've got to get that sorted. And that would have had more options, I think, that would have been suitable. But there is nowhere that where you can find those listed. It just goes, get our Coca-Cola Freestyle stuff. I'm like, well, I don't like Coca-Cola, so I don't want that. Knowing that there's still options would have been useful. We could have got one that we could refill as a family. That would have been better. And if you get more, you get less. They cost less. So is
it £10 if you get 3 or more?
Something like that, or maybe 11.
That's still a lot, but I suppose £10 for unlimited refills for a day, it's okay.
Yeah. So that was annoying, but £32 for 4 hot dogs. And the worst part is Ian was kind enough to get me the little crispy onions to go in mine, which was a nightmare to try and put them in.
An extra 60p, I think, for them.
Oh, you paid for those?
Yeah.
Wow. So I put them in my bun, but the bun was cut the whole way through, and then like literally as I went to bite it, they all went down my top. I smelled of onion all day. There was crispy bits just in my bra, and it was really hard to get them out. I was like subtly trying during the show to get them out, and I stunk of onion, so I wasn't your favourite person. Not that you put your face there. That would have been inappropriate at Legoland, I feel. And I mean, I didn't get to eat them, so that was even worse. But the kids ate a whole hot dog, and it was quite a significant.
Yeah, it was a decent size.
And they didn't complain too much about food. We bought loads of snacks, so every time they seemed grumpy, I'm like, let's have a snack. But again, we didn't get sauce on our ice cream because it was like an extra 60p or something. We just
I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Plain ice creams, everyone gets one sorted.
Yeah, and we seemed they were nice ice creams. It was a good cone. I think we could have gone to more shows as well. We didn't do many of the shows. We did the pirate one, and the kids loved it. Yeah. I mean, Hayley was going, yeah, and she's just been learning about pirates, so I think it was quite a well-themed one for her. But then after we'd done Miniland and all the rides, and we were heading back up to the top, we wanted to leave early. We sort of said we'll try and aim to leave at 5 to avoid the queues getting out. But obviously we spent longer in Miniland. The girls wanted to do a few more rides because when we went to Duplo Valley, there was then the park that they wanted to stay in, and it did seem like a really good park for them to be in. So
Duplo Valley seems really good.
Yeah, I think we should do more of that.
As I said, the Pharaoh bit didn't seem very Lego-y, whereas the Duplo bit is very much everything is made out of Duplo.
Yeah, and I think we should have spent more time in Duplo Valley, and if we'd known. Because when I looked up online, it said Drench Towers was closed, but Drench Towers was not closed. They would have enjoyed that.
Yes.
They might have got a bit cold.
Drench Towers being the big kind of water park thing.
So I think they would have really enjoyed that. I thought we'd got away with it. I thought they hadn't noticed it, but then at the end they're like, why didn't we go on that, Mummy? Yeah. So it would have been good to know that was there to start with. But by the time we got back up to the top, your face at the queue for the Lego queue... Lego store was not.
I just carried Leah all the way back up to the top. I was not in the best mood, and then just seeing this massive queue, and having Leah constantly saying "ow."
Yeah.
That I'm not standing in a queue with the girls. There's just no way I'm doing that.
So I stood in the queue by myself. It moved a lot faster than I thought it would, and it didn't take too long to get in. There's so many things at Legoland that are like non-Lego. So you've got loads of the minifigures as like stuffies. Yeah. And I really liked all of those, but they were like £18 a pop.
Yeah.
It didn't seem worth it. And like a Lego bag, I really wanted one of the Lego bags, the backpacks. But again, £32. So I couldn't justify spending all of that money, which is a shame because I really did want some of those things. We did pick up an exclusive set, didn't we?
We did.
I don't know if we should have or whether we could have got it somewhere else
I don't know.
cheaper. You wanted to get something, and I got my passport stamped, so that was good.
And they tried to charge you for a paper bag, and you got very upset.
Yeah, 20p for a paper bag. I'm like, I don't pay for paper bags. And then they broke the till, and it was quite funny. But I think some of the bad points could be improved, but they weren't enough to distract from the fact that we were having a really nice family day out.
So, the one thing we've not talked about is the whole stupid priority queuing thing.
Yeah. So let's hit that one. You can pay to go ahead of people in the queue. And I'm not entirely sure I understand the whole premise of it. I think there's one option where you get like 5, like completely skip the queue things, and that's it, you're done. I think there's another option where you pay per person and you can get into the priority queue. So there's still some queue, but less of a queue on one ride at a time. So once you've done the ride, you can then click that one.
Right.
And it means that you can go and do other things whilst you're in that queue.
So it's the virtual queue as opposed to the actual queue.
Yeah. But then you also do have to stand in the priority queue at some point.
Yes.
Because I'm sure if everyone was to do the same ride at the time and they all are still going to have a queue. And it's frustrating when you haven't done that because the cost of the day was already a lot and people get to go in front of you. Specifically when you have said, oh, I won't go on, like we were in the carousel ride and the carousel had one teacup on it for some reason.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we really wanted to do the teacup. We could have got on the carousel ride, but we chose to stay at the front of the queue so we could get on that teacup.
Yes.
And then someone from the priority queue got on the teacup.
Yes.
And we weren't overly disappointed because
we'd been discussing it whilst waiting because Hayley wanted, there's like this carriage that rocks back and forth and the teacup. Those are the two special things, and then the rest is just horses.
Yeah.
And Hayley wanted to go in the carriage and Leah wanted to go in the teacup, and we decided that we would all go in the carriage together and then we go back to the spider ride,
which is the
and
teacup.
Go on that. So we'd already said we were going to go in the carriage, but it was like realising, so as soon as they open the door for the priority queue, the boy just runs round to the teacup.
Yeah.
And we're like, we hadn't thought about the priority queue. And then the second family came in, it's like, if they go in the carriage, then that's it. We've wasted this time.
But they didn't. We got in the carriage. But not being aware of that, and also the fact that even exists, it just feels rubbish.
So I think the whole priority ride thing, the one argument is that if they weren't selling priority queuing, then the price of the tickets in general would go up to compensate. And so therefore, by having priority queuing, those who can pay more are allowing those who can't afford as much to be able to go in the first place.
But then you're still getting two different experiences.
Yes. But it's a capitalist idea. The amount of money you've got changes how much you enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you can afford ridiculously expensive food, then you can just go in and buy all the food there, all of the refill drinks, all of that, and have a much better day than someone who has to cart around a packed lunch with.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't take enough food that it felt like we were carting around. No. Because we did like half and half. We had lunch, but
we took snacks
and drinks.
Yeah.
I guess, would you also end up with really long queues if you didn't have that? So everyone would get a worse experience because everyone is queuing.
Well, so there's an argument that in order to get people to pay money to skip queues, you have to have queues.
Right.
So therefore, it's not really in the park's interest to do anything about long queues.
Yeah.
So we saw the little Ferris wheel thing in the Ferris thing was hugely inefficient.
Yeah, it needed two people to run it, and there was only one.
It's quite a long kind of platform, and so, when they're unloading, basically, two of the little carts...
Balloons? I think they're balloons.
Balloons, yeah. They come down onto the platform. He goes along, he opens both those doors, he walks to the exit, unlocks the exit, they go out, he locks the exit, walks all the way back down to the entrance gate, unlocks that, lets people in... They get in, he goes and locks it, he locks the entrance gate, and then presses the button and it moves on to the next 2 balloons.
Yeah.
So it's a slow process.
Yeah, and it wasn't worth it.
And if you see Ferris wheels at like a carnival or something, that's not how it's done. It's done very quickly. The guy can almost stand in one place and move everything as needed, and it's much more efficient. But as you say, there's no benefit for them to make it efficient. By having that queue there justifies people being able to skip the queue.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, so most of the queues system seemed okay. So I think it was particularly the carousel that annoyed me.
The carousel, or the
carousel annoyed me. The fact that you could be being at the front of the queue was important for getting your first choice.
Yeah.
And having these priority people come in and jump. Most of the places, it actually seemed as though the priority queue kind of merged into the main queue just before the end. So even if you weren't in the priority queue, if you were at the front at that point, you were at the front.
Right.
And, you know, for a lot of rides, that's important. If you want to be at the very top of a galleon.
Yeah, or in the front of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Don't know why you'd ever want to be at the front of a roller coaster.
Yeah. So, I just wasn't happy with that one, where people could come in and steal the kind of fun.
Would we go again?
I'm sure we will.
Do you think it's worth having the pass so you can go multiple times a year for one price?
I don't know. So
didn't we work out it was like, if we go 3 times, it would be worth it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the problem is, well, in order to be able to go whenever you want, the pass is quite expensive, isn't it? Because there are different levels to it.
Yes.
So we went, on a Tuesday in a half term where we were hoping it wouldn't be too busy.
Yeah, it didn't feel too busy.
It didn't, but there were still massive queues.
Yeah.
If we were going in the middle of the summer, I'd expect it to be so much worse.
The thing is, the girls clearly like some of the thrill rides, but they're also very much at home with the free stuff.
Yes.
And the stuff that you don't have to queue for.
Yeah.
So I'd say it would be worth being able to go like 5 or 6 times in a year, like every holiday go and leave by 3. Like not experience those long queues. Get the thrill rides in the morning, hang out in the parks in the afternoon, and then quickly dunk them in the water park if it's good weather on the way out.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't have to queue for the store because it's not the very end of the day. And
we're assuming that the queue was because it was the end of the day.
Well, we didn't see this because we didn't see the store the whole day. So
I don't think the store was open. Was it?
I don't know. I mean, we purely went in to see if there was anything good on the pick-a-brick, and it was pants. Yeah. So we don't need to go to that Lego store. We have enough Lego.
Yeah.
So it's not really a thing we need to do. If we took our own food and didn't stay long enough that we needed extra drinks, then we would be able to do it for just, I think it's the £5 cost of parking essentially each time. That's you have to always pay the parking unless you get the gold pass.
Right, okay.
So a £5 trip out would be economical.
Yeah.
And I think we could get the benefit of it. As they get older and the thrill rides are more what they want to do, that's when we retire. Yes. And we're not going to Legoland anymore. We go to Alton Towers or something where it's better set up for multiple times on a queue. I don't know how
much they are now, because again they all do the priority queuing and you can pay to skip, so
it's inevitable. We're going to pay a fortune.
Because as a kid I never remember queuing up for rides for long. The only time I queued up for a ride a long time was, I think it was Oblivion, and I can't remember which one that was. Is that Alton Towers?
I think so.
And that was because it broke down.
Oh.
And so we were in the queue. It was great fun. So Oblivion is it's a roller coaster. It goes kind of up this hill, and then kind of you're standing up, and it kind of leans over the top, and then suddenly releases and rushes down and goes through like a cloud of mist and comes up the other side. It got stuck just before releasing at the top.
Oh, that's
so
awful.
There were people leant over this massive drop for a good 20 minutes.
And this is why I do not go on roller coasters, because if that was to happen to me, it would be awful. I mean, I put up enough fight on the Dragon's Apprentice, which is one of the tamer of the roller coasters. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I've changed my mind. Let me off. And like they didn't, because I wasn't loud enough that they maybe would have considered I was serious. I went on some rides. The girls found it hilarious when I screamed. We had a great day.
Yeah.
I'd definitely go again.
Yeah.
I think some of the shine would be taken off the second time round because you're seeing the Lego stuff for the second time. That was the bit that was exciting for me, is what Lego stuff do they have? And I already know what Lego stuff they have now, so it's not as exciting.
I mean...
But watching the girls, it's
You
enough.
get that from going to Marwell.
Yeah, sometimes they have like Lego trails and things.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have a quick guest segment. We've got Leah and Hayley here. What did you think of Legoland?
Good.
Was it the best day out ever?
Yeah. Yes.
And what was your favourite bit, Hayley?
The park.
The park, the Duplo park, or the Pirate Park?
Both.
Both, okay. How about you, Leah? What was your favourite part?
The crazy spider ride.
You like the spider ride.
Me too.
You like the spider ride, but you liked it better when you were on with Daddy on your own because you got to go faster.
Yeah.
And do you want to go again?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. You may leave. So we would recommend going,
Yes.
but we would recommend trying to avoid some of the hideous costs of food.
Yeah.
Or just suck it up.
I mean, yeah, we went. We're doing this as a treat, therefore
1,000
we're
subscribers.
expecting
Whoop, whoop.
it to be expensive. So we were kind of expecting the prices.
I would say on Lego VIP points, it was 8,000 to get into a US park. So I don't know if that's an error or whether they just deem those to be better parks. Or...
It's a different points ratio thing done in different
Yeah,
countries.
I don't know.
So.
But this was you redeem it in your country to then...
Yes, because if you were going on holiday in the US, you might want to use your UK points to buy
Yeah,
an entry. Into...
But then, therefore, it's costing more
Yeah.
to get in. So it is what it is. I thought that was a good deal. I was pleased getting that.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
One thing I do wonder, to solve the whole food problem,
Yeah.
can you leave the park, stand by the entrance, and get Uber Eats to deliver you lunch?
No idea.
Yeah, is there anywhere close
Wouldn't
enough?
they get dinged on the parking? Because they have to then get back out the
Is
gate.
there not a drop-off point?
No idea. Interesting. Okay, so we'll go again.
Yeah.
We might invest in the pass. I don't think we could have upgraded our VIP tickets because we hadn't paid for them to the pass, annoyingly. So it is what it is. But it was a wonderful day to celebrate hitting 1,000 subs on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think it was worth doing, and I would happily go again. And now I know it's not so far, I think we will go again.
Okay.
So let us know your thoughts of Legoland Windsor specifically, or possibly let us know about the ones in other countries as well. Maybe we'll make a thing. The thing is, you get the pass. Can you go to all the Legolands? We'll have to look into that, because I'd quite like to go to the other ones. Also, if you want to listen to any of our previous episodes, then I'll link up the playlist for you at the end. And we'll be back next week with some more podcast awesomeness. Bye.
Bye.